Hey everybody, we're going to talk about addition and subtraction with regrouping. So this is something that you started learning in second grade and that you have to perfect in third grade. This is kind of the step before we go into multiplication and division at the beginning of the year in third grade. So working on addition and subtraction with regrouping is very important. And in order to do that well, you have to have something called fact fluency. Fact fluency is being able to add or subtract simple numbers very quickly in your head. So if I say 5 plus 5, you should know it's 10. If I say 8 plus 2, you should know it's 10. And you shouldn't really have to think about it too much. If you don't know those, another way to get to that is always counting on your fingers or grabbing the bigger number and adding up. So for example, 8 plus 2 is 8, 9, 10, right? But we really want you to have that fact fluency where you're able to know those addition and subtraction facts very quickly. So we're going to talk about three different things. We're going to talk about addition with regrouping, regular subtraction with regrouping, and then subtraction across zeros, which is the toughest one. So the first one we're going to talk about is addition with regrouping. When I show you this, you're going to see me use three different colors. Each color is a step. All right. So my problem was 632 plus 198. So my step one is going to be in red, and that's what I did first. So when we look at our problem, we always start with the ones place. Always start with the ones place. And we say 2 plus 8. We always go from top to bottom. 2 plus 8 equals 10. So you put that 10 off to the side. And then you sing to yourself, put your ones place at the bottom and your tens place at the top. So put my 0 at the bottom and my 1 at the top. Technically it's a 10, put that at the top. Then green is my second step. So I wrote my numbers and I move on to my second step, which is 3 plus 9. Once again, we go top to bottom, but you can't forget to add in that 1, that 10 that you brought over from your first step. So 1 plus 3 is 4. Plus 9, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So you put your 13 to the side. You put your ones placed at the bottom and your tens placed at the top. Step 3 is in orange. So then I add 1 plus 6 makes 7, plus 1 more is 8. And the big thing is you always have to look for regrouping, okay? So when you're adding, you always start with the ones place. When you get your numbers, you put them to the side. You put your ones place at the bottom and your tens place at the top. Now you have to make sure when you put your tens place at the top, you don't put it over the column you're working in. You put it over the next column because you're giving it to that column. All right. The second thing we're going to talk about is just plain old subtraction with regrouping. So once again, I have my three colors here. My problem was 431. Minus 264. So my first step, which is red, I said, okay, remember top to bottom, 1 minus 4. Can I do that? No, I can't do that because if I have one things, there's no way for me to take away 4 from that, right? So 1 minus 4. So I have to regroup. So I'm going to go next door. I have 3 things, and if I take one away to regroup it, that leaves me with 2. When I walk on over and drop that off, it's a 10, but when I move into the ones place, it breaks into 10 tens or 10 ones, We already have 1 there. Turns into an 11, right? So now can I do 11 minus 4? I can. If you don't know that off the top of your head, you can grab your 4 and count up to 11. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 11 minus 4 is 7. It's a lot of work, and that was only my first step. Wow. Okay, so let's keep going. My second step is in green. So I said, okay, now I have, it's not a 3 anymore because we crossed it out. So now I have a 2 minus 6. If I have 2 things, can I take away 6 from that? No, I can't, right? So I have to regroup again. So I go to the hundreds place and I say, okay, if they have 4 things and I regroup 1, how many do they have left? They have 3. So now we're working with hundreds. So when I take that 100 over the tens place, it can't stay like that, right? I have to break it into 10 tens. Well, I brought over 10 tens and I already had 2 tens, so that makes 12 tens. So now, can I do 12 minus 6? I can, and that equals 6. My third step is in orange, and the third step is simpler than all the other ones because now, don't forget, it's not a 4 anymore, it's a 3. 3 minus 2 is 1. So you're left with the answer 167. Okay. When you get to subtracting across zeros, it's a little bit difficult because you can't just go next door to get the number. So we're going to do exactly what we do in class, so make sure you're listening. All right, 700 minus 438. So I always start with my ones place, just like always, and you have to go from the top to the bottom, because what I notice a lot of third graders do is they go from the bottom to the top because they don't have to regroup, but you can't do it that way. So instead of saying 0 minus 8, I can't do that. They'll say 8 minus 0. Oh, that's 8. Really, we have 0 when you're trying to take away 8. We can't do that. If we have nothing, we can't take away things from it. So I have to regroup. Normally, you would go right next door, right? If you need milk or eggs or something, you go next door and you ask your neighbor. But the neighbor doesn't have anything. So we have to go all the way down the street, right? So we walk and we walk and we go to our neighbor all the way down the street. Well, our neighbor all the way down the street has 7 hundreds. When we take one of those 700s, when we take one of those hundreds away, how many are left? 600s. So now we're taking our 100 square and we're walking, all right? We come to the 10s. Once you cross over to that 10s place, that hundreds can't stay like that anymore, right? So you've got to break the 100 into 10 tens. So we drop off our 10 tens. But in order to get back to the ones place, you have to take one with you. So when I take one with me, that 10 turns into a 9. So I took it with me. Now I have a 10, along. When I walk that over to the ones place, can a 10 stay in the ones place? No. So again, I have to break it into 10 ones. Now, guys, the best thing about regrouping across the years is all the regrouping's already done. So now can I do 10 minus 8? I can. That's 2. So that's our second step. Now that we've done all the regrouping, now we actually get to subtract. All right. Our third step, we go to the tens place and we say 9 minus 3 is 6. And then our fourth step is 6 minus 4 equals 2. Something that third graders do is they forget to cross this number out when they go all the way over to regroup, and then they do 7 minus 4 equals 3, and then your answer is 100 too much, right? You have to make sure that you use that regrouped number.